Welcome to the Sideline Report. I'm Marvin Jackson. The Burgundy and Gold have slid to 3-9 after losing at home to the New York Football Giants. Joining me to discuss this disappointing season is Donna Hopkins and Redskins alum and legend number 43, Larry Brown. Thanks for joining us.
That was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Now, they started off pretty well against the Giants, 14-0, and then they lose the lead.
Yeah, and you know, I was listening to something that Griffith said. He said that they're too good of a football team to be have this record. No, they're not a good football team right now. And they talked about not being able to play 60 minutes of football. If you're a good football team, you're going to be able to sustain some drives. You're going to be able to play and finish games out. They've been inconsistent all year long. Offense has played well at one time. The defense has played well at another time. All three phases of this team has not been on the same page. They got away from the running game, and everybody was wondering why they didn't run Alfred Morris, but they stacked 8 men in the box. The Giants did, and they said, I'm going to take the run away from you. You're going to have to beat us through the air, and that's what they did, and they weren't able to do it beyond those 2 drives.
Larry, you were a running back, and you were a very valuable running back to some really good Redskin teams. Talk about that. She's just saying that they took the run away from the Redskins. I don't ever remember them stopping the run. I mean, teams probably tried to take the run away from you guys, but they still handed it to you.
We're talking about 2 different eras. We're in an era now where you live and die by the past. When we were playing, when I was playing, it was the era of the running backs. You know, Frank O'Harris, myself, Gale Sayers, and we ran the ball most of the time to control the clock, and we threw the ball only when it was necessary to keep our opponent off guard.
So even though they stacked 9 players maybe up on the line, you guys still were able to run the ball.
I don't know whether they stacked. I don't recall whether they did that or not. But whatever they did, we were able to counter.
So what can the Redskins do when they do that? When they take the run away from them, is that something that maybe they should still hand it off to Morris?
That would be pure conjecture on my part. I don't know. Today's game is quite different. I know that Lombardi and George Allen wanted their primary focus was running the ball. Lombardi would throw the ball strategically if he had to, but we would control the ball. We ran the ball, and Allen the same way.
One other thing I've been wanting to ask you, there's been a big controversy about the fact that Darrell Young, the fullback, was not playing the last couple games, and Morris did not get a lot of yardage. You had a great fullback, Charlie Haraway, blocking for you. Did that make a big difference if Charlie Haraway wasn't in there? I mean,
well, if Charlie Haraway wasn't in there, I probably would never get out of the backfield.
So it does make a big difference. Okay.
An asset for me because he was a great blocker. And if you remember some of the plays back then, especially one of the playoff games we played, I believe in the Coliseum, that there was a key block made and I scored. Charlie kicked out the in-man on the line, and I scored, and that was a very, very effective play, only because of his blocking ability.
And that play is on NFL films all the time.
No, I think that him being out makes a difference in the offense in another way because they utilize him coming out the backfield also. But the thing about it is if they take 8 men and stack them in the box, they take away your run. I was talking to Gary Clark. I said, so what can the receivers do? Because it seems like they can't get open, and then RG3 is running around and seem to not be able to find those guys. But Gary said when they take things away, you've got to be able to create some things on your own as far as even with the receivers out there, you don't go to that first option and you go to the next one. So you can't stop the play, but you've got to keep moving. And that may be what's happening with that passing game, is that the receivers are stopping and not keeping going when that first option is not there.
Yeah, and if they run to where they're going and they just stay there,
Then guess what?
then Griffin has no
It's
other
dead.
option if they're not open.
Exactly.
Okay. Now let's talk about the defense. I mean, if they were up 14-0 and all of a sudden it's tied 14-14, is this defense playing well? I mean, everybody's saying they did not do too as bad against the Giants as they had been doing, but you know, they give up 2 quick touchdowns to the Giants.
Well, you think about it, it's 26 points they win by the Giants, and the defense probably played one of their better games. As they said, they just didn't finish it, because the thing about it is they took some things away from Eli and the running game and the receivers. Even Salsa Man didn't even get open a lot to create a lot of damage and everything. But I think in spots they played well. You know, stopping the run has been a problem with them all season long. So they did some good things, but I think they needed to work on some other things in, you know, finishing games, creating the turnovers, which that hasn't happened. But I think Brian Wrapup is the person that has started to really play well and come in on his own.
Speaking of Brian Wrapup, we still seem to be lacking that pass rush. Don't you guys think, Larry? I don't see a big pass rush.
Well,
without a blitz.
You know, I don't want to be critical, but I'm not sure that we have a lot of talent on that team.
Okay.
We have some talent. On the defense, I think you got Wrapup, you got Kerrigan, you got Hall, and probably the nose tackle. And that's about it. So until we improve our personnel in that area, then I think that we are going to lose a lot of games.
So a lot of these guys are not going to be back next year, right?
You know, it's hard to say. We're talking about the guys not being back. What about the coaching staff maybe not being back? Because right now I think that everybody is being assessed at this point. In these last 4 games, you know, Mike Shanahan is in his last year as far as contract. Does he want to come back, finish that out? Does he want an extension? It's a lot of things that play into if the coaches will be back, which ones, and of course with the players, because they definitely need, as Larry said, to upgrade not only on the defensive side, but the offensive side and special teams. Isn't this a good time? We only have a few seconds, but this seems to be a good time to switch coaches maybe, because you've got the $30 million that you have to spend coming up, and you might want a new coach to come in and spend that money. I mean, what do you think, Larry?
Well, the problem is if you blow up the organization, you're pushing the can down the road because this person, whoever comes in, he has to start from the ground floor and build a team. So that's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, it just doesn't. You know.
I'm like him. Finish it out. I let him have his 1 year, and then assess him about extending that.
Now, let's switch gears a little bit, and let's go back to some of the things that we were talking about earlier about the Washington burgundy and gold. Larry, you had some points that you wanted to make about this team.
Well, I don't think we have controlled players on the team today. By what I mean by controlled players, I mean a player that can take his performance level to the highest level possible and control the game. We don't have those kind of players on this team today. And I'm talking about people like Charlie Taylor, Ken Houston, Art Monk.
And yourself.
Well, thank you.
Exactly.
You were NFL Player of the Year, 1972. So that definitely tells me that you were one of those guys. And I mean, you have to have that, really, to be a champion, right?
And that opportunity has confronted us a number of times when Our backs were up against the wall, and we were behind in points, and we needed to deliver. And what we got was drop passes and penalties.
Yeah. So they've had the opportunities, they just didn't come through. And you said that you guys just knew when you walked in the huddle.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It was time. We knew it was time to go back to work and get the job done. We knew it, and there was nothing said. We just knew what we had to do, and we did it as a unit.
All right.
It's funny that you say that. You talked about, and Gary Clark just a few days ago said the same thing that you said. How do you, like you said, when you all knew that you needed to take it to the next level, and you look at the players right now on this team, how would you tell them to take it to the next level? Is it just that you have to be able to, or it's nothing that you could really teach?
You know, losing is probably the worst feeling you could have after a game. And you don't get addicted to those kind of feelings, you know? So we wanted to win. You have to, and that's the way we approached the game. We wanted to win.
So we got to get this.
We got to get this done,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I tell you what, man, we have taken it to a whole new level here on the Sideline Report with Larry Brown.
Exactly.
And with you, Donna.
Great knowledge over here.
And Larry, it's been fun. This man is royalty here, right on this set with us, and we really appreciate you coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right. And thanks to all of our Sideline Report team, and thanks to you, the viewers, for joining us. We'll be back next week. I'm Marvin Jackson. See you next time. Thanks, guys.